Hi, this is Tiffany Sicard with HomeKey Mortgage, and you're listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Every business owner has a story. Let Jim Chapman tell yours.
Hi, it's Tricia Johnston, residential realtor with Blum with your real estate tip of the week. When you're selling your house, it seems like everyone has an opinion. Be careful who you listen to, though. While everyone who's giving you advice and opinions may have very good intentions, they may not have the knowledge and expertise necessary to be advising you on the sale of your biggest financial investment. They may not be aware of certain important factors that go into determining the true value of your property. Even online sites try to give you an estimate of what your property is worth, and the fact is they've never been anywhere near your home. That's a computer-generated number that compares your home to properties within a certain radius of yours. So they might be comparing your house to a condo or a mobile home or a foreclosure. They don't give any consideration to updates and improvements, condition, lot size, property type, whether or not you have a great view. These are things that really can affect the value of your property. So the best thing for you to do is to step away from the opinions and guesses. The facts and the truth may be very different, better or worse. To get a true valuation of your property, contact a knowledgeable and experienced realtor or an appraiser or both. If you have any questions at all, just give me a call. I'm Tricia Johnston with Blum, and I'll be back here next week with another real estate tip for you.
Thing I love, it is when a new business opens in Livingston Parish. Couple that with some of the most interesting ice cream cones and milkshakes you could ever want to see with a taste to match. And I am 150% in. My guest for today is opening a brick and mortar right here in Denham Springs, where eye appeal alone will have you busting through the door. I guarantee it. Just wait until you hear this story. So with that, welcome Colin O'Donnell, commonly known as Mr. Milkshake, to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Alrighty, how are you doing?
I'm good, man.
Good,
and you,
good.
I love that last name, O'Donnell.
That's it.
That's a good little Cajun name right there.
That's it.
So where are you from originally?
Originally from St. Bernard Parish down in Chalmette.
Yeah.
Lived down there till I was about 25. Katrina changed everything for us. Moved out to the Hammond Way and been out this way since. Yeah, Chalmette's always,
storms in Chalmette seem to go hand in hand when they come up the mouth of that Mississippi. It'll mess, y'all have had your share over the history of that city.
Absolutely. It's always a scare, and then you wind up, let's take a little trip while this one comes, and you get used to going and packing a couple of pair of pants and shorts and coming back in the next couple of days. Yeah. Did the same thing with Katrina and lost everything. I think I had like 3 pairs of shorts, 3 pairs of shirts, a couple pair of underwear, and that was a wrap, and you didn't have nothing to come back to.
Right. That was the thing with that storm, and it was definitely the mama of them all, or whatever they say. That was just an awful storm for that area. Even here, it was pretty bad. So, and we're far inland from where Chalmette is.
Yeah, it was a definite awakening, and a lot of people were sad about it. A lot of old people just lost everything, and it was so hard for them. They had nothing else to do.
Right. So. It's interesting you say that, and even here, of course, it wasn't the wind that got us, it was the water. Right. But even here, for younger guys like me, I could rebuild, and I kind of had I was very, very worried. But, you know, I looked at these older people during that flood, and I'm like, man, these people are retired. You know, it's not like they can, or they have the desire really to go out there and get a job. They didn't expect this. And so I can relate, you know, your heart goes out to especially the older, more seasoned generation.
Absolutely.
Colin, we're going to talk all about your business today. But before we go into that, I want to give everyone a little history on you. First, you have 7 children, sir. What is that like?
Just a few. It's a wild ride. Let's just say that, because we're always in different directions. People all the time ask me, man, how do you do it with everything? I don't know. Just do it. You just make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So, we have, my kids range from 21 to 4.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a range.
It's a range.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of attention has to go between all of them. It's hard.
Sure.
When you have that many kids. But 5 girls, 2 boys.
Yeah.
So I definitely have a couple of guns at home, and you know.
I know the feeling. Yeah, it's you know, you're right. I have 3 and it's work. You know, so I could only imagine 7. But you love them, and you know, just from the little bit I know of you, you're definitely a someone that really cares for children and all of that sort of thing. So what a blessing, you know.
Absolutely.
And you have employees for a long time as they grow up, right?
That's it. I get rid of some, I get some new ones in, you know.
That's it. That's it. So you have a big love with the sport of basketball, right? You coached AAU teams to this day?
Absolutely. This year, I kind of took a break for a couple of reasons. One, shoulder surgery. So that kind of set me back a little bit. And then the new business was also, you know, we knew we were going in the direction of getting a brick and mortar. It was our first really full year of opening up during the spring. So a lot of unknowns, and we wanted to concentrate a little bit more, knowing that I had the shoulder surgery, and then knowing this, we just wanted to make sure we were concentrating on the business.
Absolutely. Yeah, and especially when you're, you know, you're no stranger to business. You've been kind of running a business for a while, just not a brick and mortar. Right. But when you couple that into the mix, I would imagine, you know, it's a whole kind of different world there.
Oh, yeah, it's different. Everything has its own challenges, but you grow from it, you learn from it. It's definitely been a learning experience.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to do a brick and mortar to start. However, you know, when you don't have them funds available right away, the trailer kind of allowed me to make a few dollars.
Sure.
Allowed me to know markets.
Yes.
And that was a big thing. It allows
huge.
me to kind of get in an area, see where I have a good following, because it's about success, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody always says, hey, open here, open here. I would love to open one in every city.
Yeah.
But, you know, financially, business-wise, you have to do what makes sense and what's going to make you successful. So that's
right. And you can, you know, you have to be careful that you don't grow yourself out of business, which people will do. They'll get into a position where they may have a successful business, but they kind of expand way too quick. And what happens is you have so much money going out and it's not coming back at the same rate. And then the next thing you know, you're in a bind. Absolutely. You're doing it the right way. And, you know, one thing when we sat down for this, kind of like a pre-interview, I was very impressed with the thought you put into it. Some people just kind of jump into things. They're a little bit crazy with it, especially podcasters. But you really put a lot of thought into it. And, you know, I can't find any flaws with the moves that you've made to kind of make sure and at least do everything you can to see success in what you're doing. Obviously, you're a hard worker. I think your branding is phenomenal. You know, and at the end of the day, your product is freaking awesome. Forget all the other stuff. The product comes first. You know, that's got to be right. It's got to be good. It's got to be appealing. So I want to kind of tell people my first experience with you, because that's going to kind of set up everything else. So
from humble beginnings in 1989, Big Mike's has long been a place for friends and family to gather for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Big Mike, Jocelyn, and their friendly staff invite you to come in and relax in one of their spacious dining areas, or watch a game on one of the big screen TVs. Big Mike's is a place to meet old friends or make new ones. Big Mike's offers daily and nightly specials, and they specialize in serving up delicious and fresh menu items. Big Mike's offers a catering menu for large groups and has private party rooms for up to 100 guests. Whether you're planning a quick lunch or a large family dinner, or just a night out with friends, Big Mike welcomes you to experience a great time. And don't forget to grab some t-shirts, caps, or koozies in the gift shop. Oh, or a bottle of Big Mike's Honey Dijon. It's delicious. Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. We're kind of a big deal.
You know, you support, I always tell people, make sure you support the community that you work in and that you spend your time in, and you do that. And Colin, before he started on his brick and mortar, had a very successful food, I guess you call it food truck business. Yeah. He goes to festivals and all these neighborhoods, all these sorts of things. Well, he went to the Denham Springs Festival we just had here. I guess it's about a month and a half ago, and me and my wife were there, and we're walking around, and of course, you know, local boy, I know everybody there, so I'm going up messing with people at the booths, and I see a kid walk by, and he's got an ice cream cone that has a giant donut on it, and it looks amazing. I stopped mid-sentence talking to somebody, and I turned around and I said, "Where did he get that?" So me and my wife meandering down, and we come across, you know, you're set up there, and you are rocking over there. And for people that don't know, the spring, I guess it'd be the Spring Festival, was just on fire. Had to be 1 million people there. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but a lot of people. And I think some of that was due to everybody was ready to get out. COVID had just kind of, you know, finally we can get out and do things. And so that was part of it. But it was interesting that of all the booths, and they all were packed, yours was the most packed. And there was 4 or 5 different concoctions that you had, and every one of them were unbelievable. So, of course, I jumped in line. I said, I want that, you know, donut, giant, beautiful thing right there. Colin and his staff over there made it in record time. I couldn't believe how fast they were moving. And it was delicious. And the first thing I told him was, "You got to come on my podcast." I didn't even know he was setting up a brick and mortar. And we talked for a minute, and he mentioned that he was putting a location in Denham. And I'm like, this is a match made in heaven right here. But I'm telling you, if you know, and I know all you listeners and stuff, y'all are on my Facebook, and you've seen me put these pictures up there of Kyle's concoctions at Mr. Milkshake. So you're gonna love it. So I wanted to mention that story so people kind of know that you're not new to this. You have that food truck side of it. We're gonna go way back beyond that. You actually have culinary school training.
Absolutely. So getting out of high school, never really planned for what I wanted to do. I know I love food. Yeah. So I signed up for Nunez Community College. Yeah. Went there. And then I kind of got into an internship at the Royal Sinester Brigades, which was a fine dining restaurant.
Yes.
Which was an awesome learning experience. Yeah. And it was definitely a different side of food because, you know, fine dining, you're really making it fancy and nice, and learning a lot about, you know, the prep work and what goes into it. So I worked in the food industry probably about 2-3 years. Moved to the W Hotel. Worked there for a little while. Magnolia on Magazine. Worked there for a little while. So I had some good experience.
Serious experience.
Some good chefs. Yeah. Chef Charlie Bartel kind of was my mentor coming in as his apprentice. And, you know, he's phenomenal. I don't even think he's a chef no more, but
really,
yeah, he was really good to me and taught me a lot. So
wow, interesting, and it's funny how life, you know, leads you into this field of just unbelievable ice cream and milkshakes. But I do want to mention that that's probably also where you honed your presentation, right? In food, presentation is almost as important as taste.
Absolutely. Eye appeal is buy appeal.
I love it.
I hear that and use it for multiple things, but if it looks good, people want it, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. First thing you see what you want.
Yeah.
So that definitely is the eye appeal factor. Not alone does it taste great too. Sure. But the eye appeal is important.
Well, that gets them, like you say, that's buy appeal. That gets them to want it. If it looks, unappetizing, they're not going to spend the money to even try it. I mean, it's gross.
Absolutely. And that's also the power of social media it's more visual, right? Because you're seeing it. So Indeed. Social media has been phenomenal for me. And that's really the spark of my business.
And I would even, I can't even think of the adjective for your social media because you have this guy right here, folks, has 30,000 plus followers on Facebook, which is not easy. Take it from a guy that I consider myself a media expert. It's not easy, Kyle. I mean, that's tough stuff. 30,000 people, and he'll be the first to tell you he don't know a whole lot about social media, right?
No. Look, I have to relate to my kids when it comes to this stuff. Like, hey, what? And they're like, no, this is pretty good. And I'm like, okay. So I'm pretty new to it. I mean, look, I know how to make a post. I know how to say, hey, this is where we're going to be. But ultimately, I don't know much about it. I'm not a big tech guy.
Well, take a minute and follow them right now on social media. And trust me, you'll be salivating at the concoctions they have. I'm telling you. So you've been at this a little while, but it wasn't with a brick and mortar. Initially, you had a food truck. So I want to kind of start with what led you into the milkshake business in general, and then take me through how you decided on that food truck.
All righty. So about 3 years ago, on Facebook, obviously. Yeah. I seen some of these concoctions. And I'm like, told my wife, hey, when this opens up, we're going to have to go check this out. Yeah. Just like you, when you seen me, it's like, hey. So about a year later, it opened finally, and we went and checked it out. Coming from a basketball tournament. And we loved it. It was good stuff. And I wound up talking to the owners of that location. And, we talked a little while. They met me in Covington. Awesome. Maybe talk about a franchising. Yeah. It didn't quite work out. Yeah. So I was like, well, I have a culinary background. I think this is something that I could kind of rub off of and maybe perfect and change up a little bit. So
maybe even make better, which I think you might have done.
Absolutely. So we went forward with it. We were like, okay, let's start working with this and see what we could do. So for that whole summer, it was about 2 years ago, we met with South Asian's business department, some big businessmen in the area, met with their ice cream reps, and then started playing with it, baking cookies, brownies, just doing everything we could do to kind of perfect what we wanted to do to see. And it was awful. I ain't gonna lie. In the beginning, it was really bad. So we were like, okay, this ain't gonna work. Ditch it. And then, but the good thing was we were eating ice cream all the time. That's always good. The kids loved it because they were the guinea pigs. So,
absolutely.
We would kind of probably gain a little bit of weight at that point. So for that whole summer, we really worked hard. Yeah. And then it just kind of like put it to the wayside. Yeah. And then COVID hit. And we really didn't think about it then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a bad time to, then it's amazing you and a lot of other businesses. It was like ideas stopped, the whole world stopped kind of for a while.
Absolutely. You just kind of got stuck at home. I was doing projects, just building this, building that. I was going crazy. Like, me and four walls don't get along too well. I have to be moving and doing something. Yes. So right when they started to release people, I think we could go to the gym. So me and my wife were like, hey, we ain't worked out in a while. Let's go to the gym. Yeah. Go to the gym on the way home, flipping through social media. Yeah. And I'm a bunny bread man now. But one of my receiver managers made a post that, hey, I want a dessert vendor to come in to my neighborhood. And So I'm like, I could do this.
Yeah.
So I called her. I'm like, hey, I think I could come do these milkshakes for you. And she's like, you think you could do it? And I'm like, yeah, I could do it. She's like, okay, well, get it together and get back with me. I hung up my phone and I'm like, babe, we're going to be doing this milkshake thing? She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're going to be doing it in a few weeks. She's like, what did you just do? And I'm like, I don't know what I just did, but we got to order blenders. We got to get cups. We got to give it to Hershey.
You had nothing.
I had nothing.
Oh,
right?
that's funny.
I had this cheap little blender we practiced with, and I'm like, that will definitely not work. So I think the next day I was on the phone with Hershey's. I was getting cups, ordering cups from multiple places.
Yeah.
Just getting everything together. So it was like a whirlwind. And it was legitimately a bullet out of a gun. I never would have imagined it kind of would have fell out the way it did.
Yeah. William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast.
So, I guess they could say it's all in God's timing, and it's so true, because the year before, when we were really working on it, I guess it just wasn't our time yet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just bang, that quick. It was his timing, put us right where we needed to be, and it was on.
Indeed. Yeah. And so I would imagine you had some success that first time out with that neighborhood.
Right. We operated out of a garage the first weekend. I think we did like 92 shakes.
Wow.
And it was crazy.
Yeah.
We didn't know I didn't know what I had at that point. Nobody did. We were just, we did 92. That's awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
We were excited. And we did it for a long time that day. So it was a long span. Again, just not knowing what we had, what we were, just the first time.
Sure. Trial by fire.
Absolutely.
I mean, really.
So the next weekend, we had the event.
Yeah.
That we planned, and I have a big old 28-foot gooseneck trailer. We were just going to pitch tents. Be like, all right, we'll set up. So I wound up cleaning my trailer really good, empty gooseneck trailer, painted it, got it all together, put some sinks in there, got our ice cream, got the generator ready to go, and we did it out of my gooseneck bread trailer, that event. We did like 80 in like 3 hours, and I mean, we were slammed. We had to wait. Nothing I ever expected. But once we left there, we were like really excited. We were like, oh man, this is going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once it got there, we got into the public, and then it really just, once we hit social media and really pushed it, I don't even think it was nothing I did. I think it was pretty much the pictures and the product. It sold itself at that point, and it was just on. There was nothing holding it back, and I'm grateful for it.
Oh, yeah. And, it's amazing. As I said before, your pictures kind of say the whole story with how good that stuff is, because it tastes as good as it looks. I mean, I can tell y'all from experience. And yes, you can eat the whole thing. Trust me, I did it.
And you get milkshake wasted. That's what
absolutely one of the best, phrases you could ever have in slogans for a business. And I've been saying that. I have people on Facebook now laughing because I've been we're getting milkshake wasted on this show. So at some point, obviously, that food truck business took off. You're rocking and rolling every weekend. And what's interesting about that is it sounds like you didn't even have time to think. From the time that you did your first trial by fire event to the next week, you're already cleaning out your trailer, and you're on that wave. I'm going to ride this thing and see where it takes me. But one thing that you did that it's important that I hammer down is Mr. Milkshake. They all tested for a long time, different concoctions and flavors and I guess presentations. And, at some point you had to come up with an ice cream company. So tell me how you ended up with Hershey's as your kind of your go-to, I guess, for ice cream.
Right. Well, Hershey's has I really didn't know much about Hershey's. Once I met with them the other company that did the milkshakes. They kind of told me what ice cream they were using. So I was like, oh, okay. But once I got in touch with them and they were giving me samples and tasting, I'm like, okay. For somebody who was a Bluebell guy all my life, I was like, okay, this is a different monster. You know, this ice cream is a little bit different. And look, I love Bluebell, nothing knocking Bluebell at all.
Yeah.
But Hershey's is just a different level ice cream. It is.
Indeed.
It's a phenomenal product. It tastes great. So that's
long history.
Oh, I mean, yeah, long history. And you know, it speaks for itself, really.
Speaking of your creations and you know your concoctions, who comes up with all that? Now you talked about you play. I would imagine your family plays a huge role in all of your concoctions. And as we're talking, there's going to be pictures flashing up on the screen of these different concoctions you make. So because you're visual, right? Everything you have is visual, and then it becomes the taste buds. But you know, did the whole family have a lot of input?
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of chimes in. Hey, maybe you should do this. And
yeah, you ever thought about putting cheesecake on top of it? I mean, that sounds lovely to me.
Anything sounds good with cheesecake on top, right? Hey,
exactly.
But absolutely, and it, you know, there's things we change. You know, we see where we could do it better, or it looks a little more eye appealing. So we'll try to change it and for something that'll work better.
Yes.
We're always wanting to learn and grow, and still we want to perfect things.
Yeah.
We're still a baby company, so like we're still in the beginning stages. So
sure.
You know, as we go, the consistency part is starting to come in now. You know, we've been at it a year. Consistency is key, especially as we want to grow bigger, and we want to make sure that we keep that consistency, the quality. You know, you see a lot of businesses now that want to go quantity over quality, and I want to go quality.
I like that.
You know, if people are going to spend their money with me, I want them to have a quality product, and I want it to be a consistent quality. You know, you don't want somebody coming in one time and it looking phenomenal. The next time they come in and like, what is this on my plate? You know,
that's right.
And that goes back to my culinary days and dealing with my shelves. You know, in that industry, especially when you're dealing with fine dining, you need that consistency and that quality.
I agree 100%. When I was young, I worked for a smoothie place. They made smoothies, and you know, one of the things that they pushed was you want this smoothie to taste the same every time someone gets it. You don't want it chunky one time and smooth the next time and icy the next time.
Right.
So it was very important, that consistency. And so you're 100% right on that. So you self-describe the services you offer as extravagant milkshakes with exceptional customer service. Extravagant milkshakes is the perfect adjective for what you have in which to describe it. So that was a good call. But secondly, I want to ask you how much of an emphasis you personally place on customer service and, you know, your company.
At a premium.
Yeah.
You know, at a day and age, everything's fast. You're dealing with a lot of fast foods and just, you know, people are always in a rush. And when you go to a lot of these places, you don't feel homely or wanted or welcomed.
Yes.
You know, what do you want? Like, what?
Yeah.
How can you roll up and run a business? And I guess I'm a little bit different in that aspect. I want you to feel, when you come in, I want you to feel like you're part of my family.
Yes.
In a trailer, it's hard, but we do our best.
Yeah.
I think once we open this brick and mortar, a lot of people are going to be very excited and enjoy the atmosphere. The customer service is very big to me, because if I'm going to go to a business and I'm going to spend money, I want to know that I'm welcomed and it feels warm and I'm comfortable, and everything else kind of goes away.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of helps them problems you have kind of go away when somebody's really catering to you and making you feel good, right?
100%.
Everybody wants to feel great.
100%.
And you know, I've done a lot of research with customer service. it wasn't just the milkshakes. It wasn't just, you know, ice cream. I did research for customer service as well. So,
BJ Pawn and Gun in Denham Springs wants to buy your unwanted gold jewelry, gold coins, and gold bullion. With 30 years of experience operating in the Livingston Parish area, BJ Pawn wants to be your source when selling your gold. So stop by BJ Pawn today for a no-obligation offer. BJ Pawn, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
I'm a Bunny Bread man, and I have a Chick-fil-A that I service.
Yeah.
So it was very big to me, like, hey, Chick-fil-A is #1 customer service, right? You think, when you think of customer service, the first thing you probably think of, or one of the first, is Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely.
And when you walk in there, everybody's very nice. They're, you know, hey.
Happy to work
happily
there.
Yeah, absolutely. They make you feel welcome. So I talked to the owner of the store, Cody, really nice guy. And we sat down and talked for, I don't know, about 30, 40 minutes, and just, hey, what do you do and how do you maintain your customer service? Because that's a big part of what I want to do. And we talked for a while, talked about a lot of his procedures and stuff, and it gave me a chance to kind of go home and think and refine and stuff like that as well. So
that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I want people to feel welcome.
Yeah. And I want to say 2 points on that. Number one, it's for listeners out there, that's a huge point that Colin just made, and not, you know, it just comes from the heart, you can tell. But when he was planning on, you know, his brick and mortar and the customer service aspect, he wasn't too proud to go to somebody else and ask, hey man, what are you doing to make your customer service so good? And the problem with some business owners is they think they can do it best, and you know, they know better, right, than anybody else. And this dude right here, he is just open to as many tips and as much information as he can get. And someone like that, it's important to them that they're doing everything the right way. But the best thing that you're doing, in my opinion, is you're putting yourself in the place of your customer. And you said it right there. You said, you know, if I was that person, this is how I would want to feel. That, to me, is the key to business. Put yourself in the place of your customer, and then treat your customer as you would want to be treated. Sounds cliche, but it's totally legit.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is. So no worries there on customer service when it comes to Mr. Milkshake in Denham Springs, that's for sure. Now, branding to me is one of the most important aspects of business. Your branding is stellar. We talked about this, you know, the first time we talked, from the hat you wear to the simple but eye-catching T-shirts. I mean, look at the color on that thing. It's just Mr. Milkshake, but you use the milkshake for the eye, and you got the little hat on there that is, you know, that's an ice cream hat, or a scoop hat, as my father-in-law used to call it. But everything about you kind of screams, I sell milkshakes and I make them really good. So branding's huge. My personal favorite is your slogan, which we mentioned earlier. Let's get milkshake wasted. So tell me the story of how you came up with that slogan.
When we were looking and everything was kind of coming together, something went back in my head where I watched it was a TV show. Was it maybe Grown Ups? And it was like, let's get chocolate wasted, the little kid. And he was like, I want to get chocolate wasted. So I was like, you know what? I think this would kind of slide in and fit right where we wanted to be. Yeah. And it's catchy. And so that's what we went with. We went with it. Let's get milkshake wasted. And it really took on a little bit better than what I projected it to. So yeah, it went well.
Yeah, it really did. And it, you know, when I put it on Facebook the past week, people are all constantly, I had a girl send me let's get chocolate wasted, one of my good friends, Lori Johnston. So we are indeed getting chocolate wasted. but it's going to be with milkshakes really soon.
Absolutely.
Now, as we said earlier, you have 30,000 followers on Facebook, and we talked about how you kind of built that following, which you're not really sure how, except for you make really fancy, milkshakes and ice creams. So I did want to ask you, though, how important has social media been on your success so far?
It's really been everything. Without that platform, I wouldn't be here. I took no other avenue. I didn't. All of the old school advertisement, I guess when I was growing up, TV,
billboards.
Billboards. Yeah. A lot of that's so commercial now. It isn't for the small business. None of that is built for small business anymore.
Attorneys and
absolutely.
And attorneys. They dominate billboards.
Right. Yeah. So it really gave me the power to move my business forward, and I didn't even know what I had in social media.
Yeah.
Until it started taking a life of its own. Started my kids were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I think I need to hire your kids.
Right.
Sounds like they know what they're doing.
Right. So, they showed me a few little tricks, but still I don't have a clue. I'm like, the other day I just learned I could merge Instagram and Facebook together. I'm like, oh, okay, now.
Who knew?
Right, who knew?
Yeah, it's and it makes it a lot easier. You can post and it goes on both.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to do them separate. But it is something, and it says a lot about what you're doing relative to the eye appeal of your product, which I would expect no less from someone with some culinary training. I mean, you have a lot of love going in those concoctions that you make.
It's definitely a passion. I love to cook. I don't have time to cook much no more. I'm sun up to sundown. It's go, go, go.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a passion of mine. Just creating, being creative. It's not like when I'm in there and we're concocting and we're going, it isn't like a job, I guess you could say. Now, I do worry about things about my customers. Like, I know there's a wait time a lot of the times, and that bothers me more than anything, especially in the trailer. But when I'm there, you kind of lose yourself. It's just kind of something that I love and enjoy.
Yeah.
You always hear that, do something you love and enjoy. Mm-hmm. Well, most people at work, they don't love and enjoy anything, right? I don't want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go deliver bread. That isn't enjoyable to me.
Right.
With this I look forward to getting it all together, get there and start concocting and putting these things out. And it's so, what's the right word I want to use? When you hand these things out and you hand it to a child, even I'm of all ages, I'm talking elderly, children, middle age, and you see their reaction. It's so, like, I guess, a self-fulfilling kind of deal.
Yeah.
Just like, man, to see the joy on other people's face, that's something so, I'm not going to say insignificant as a milkshake, but because they are significant, right?
Yeah.
But for me anyway, but
absolutely,
it's just something that brings a little bit more to me, like a little more meaning, I guess you could say. Because
it's passion,
right? Yeah, and a lot of this world now, there isn't. It's a lot of doom, gloom, right?
Yeah.
And when you get to see that excitement, and I just feel that.
Yeah, man, I feel it. Look, one thing about what you do, someone can be having just a horrible day, and you turn around and you hand them one of the things like you handed me at the Spring Festival, and it can literally change their whole day. I mean, it brightens it up. And you can tell that you care about it, and you're not just handing them something that you could really care less about, and there's no feeling in that product. And I'm happy for you that, it's a passion of yours, and I believe that God leads us to things throughout our life. And whether it's someone that switches a career in midlife or something like that, but they go from something they had to do to something they want to do.
Absolutely. And
the whole outlook changes. You're not working anymore. You're just kind of living your life and what you want to do. So, man, I love that. And that's one of the things I wanted to get across on here, because I want everybody to see that this is not just a job for you. This is not, this is all about, it's almost a part of who you are. Man, that's awesome. I love that stuff. So Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word.
Absolutely.
Obviously, referrals and word of mouth would be your best forms of advertising. I would imagine with your food truck business, you had kind of specific market segments that work well for you, such as clothing boutiques, probably a big thing for you. Spring festivals and fall festivals, stuff like that were big for you. But what are some industries that seem to kind of fit well with your food truck business side? Because you're not giving up that side, right? You're still going to be operating that?
Still going to operate the food truck.
Yeah.
It's, look, it still allows me to go and check different markets. And markets change. So, I could always go back in and something could change and be like, hey, this could be a potential spot for a new location.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going to let that go. It's a good source of income as well.
Yeah.
We don't want to let that go. Yeah. It also gets me to expand my brand.
Yes.
Right? So, right now I'm small business, and who knows what will happen in the future, but I want to grow.
Mr. Milkshake in every city in the world, I predict.
Hey, you never know. Look, yes, I want to grow. Who knows? I never would have thought it'd be as big as it is now.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that food truck is very important. It's the start of where we come from. We don't ever want to lose sight of that.
That's right.
So it's just going to be a different feel in a brick and mortar for sure. It's definitely going to be a way different experience.
Yeah, definitely two different sides of that industry, but both good in their own rights. And
absolutely.
And I wanted to ask you, so if someone was having like a birthday party, for example, would they call Mr. Milkshake and say, hey, I'm having a huge party, graduation, birthday, you name it, and you'll go out there and kind of help them out, or how does that work?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I did my first wedding, and that was a pretty good experience.
I saw
pretty
that.
Neat. Yeah, that was pretty neat. We did them in different cups. We did them in like fluteless wine glasses.
Oh, that's cool.
So we trying to change it up. We try to go to the occasion.
Great idea.
And it came out really well, and I thank them for giving me the opportunity for that. And as well as birthday parties, we'll do any time. We've done business functions as well.
Yeah. Grand openings.
Grand openings. I think just got somebody from Central wants me to go do one of their grand openings coming up soon. So contact me through my messenger, and then I'll send you my pricing, whatever, and then we can go from there. But absolutely. Yeah,
I'm thinking grand openings are always a great thing for who doesn't like ice cream.
Right.
You know what I mean? And look, I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, Colin is in the perfect state for this, because the hotter it gets, the more we want ice cream. I want it all year round a lot. It's pretty much an all year round thing, but when you're at a festival or one of these things and it's 99 degrees outside, you're skipping the jambalaya and going straight to the ice cream in a lot of cases.
Absolutely. And just a quick story, it is hot, and a lot of my customers, they're in the element, right? I'm in a trailer, and there's an element there. Even though I have air conditioning, it isn't no air conditioning, right? It's still hot. Trust me, I'll bring 2 AC units in there sometimes, and we have 7 people running around a 20-foot trailer.
Oh, yeah.
But I that's what's personal to me with my customers. I know they're waiting.
Yeah.
I know they're out there, that trailer, and they're in the element, and I want to make them shakes as quick as possible, because they're taking a beating by the sun.
Absolutely.
Humidity, June, July, September, August, those months are brutal.
Yeah.
And the quick story I wanted to tell you, last year, one of the jobs we went to, it was in Paulina.
Yeah.
And it was brutally hot. I was running late. I had one generator with me that day, and we go out there and we pull up, and there's cars everywhere, and I didn't know they were for me. I'm talking, there was a parking lot full of cars. It was like a recreation baseball park.
Wow. And
so I pull up. We're all running into this trailer, like just trying to get it set up because we were a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And so we get it going. I open the window, and it's about 200 people deep. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. So here we go. I turn my back. I'm starting to decorate. I look back out the window, and I told my daughter, I said, Alexis, grab your phone and take a picture of this. It was over a football field long. There's no exaggeration.
Wow.
There's pictures on my Facebook. If you go back to last year, it was a football field long. And I was just like, oh, my goodness. About 5 minutes later, my generator failed.
This ain't good.
My heart, like, dropped. And, you know, like, it's, I don't know if it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You can only imagine what it is inside.
Yes.
But now the dilemma is I have no refrigeration for my ice cream. Nothing on my refrigeration, milk and stuff. And blenders don't work.
Oh, Lord.
So now everybody, all my employees are like, okay, now what's next? And I'm like, now we mix by hand.
Oh, wow.
So look, now they're mixing cups with spoons, and we're just trying our best.
Yeah.
I'm making phone calls to my wife. We're about an hour and a half away from my wife. I'm like, look, you're going to have to go get a generator.
Yeah.
And get it out here.
Yeah.
About 5 minutes later, I hear a knock on the door, and it's some guy. He's like, hey, man, I think I could fix your generator. I said, you fix my generator, I'll give you a whole family shakes. So sure enough, about 45 minutes later, he had me up and running. Meantime, I think I disconnected my truck, sent my son to Home Depot to go get a generator. And by that time, I was up and running. But, I mean, we were drenched. I mean, it was so hot.
Yeah.
I think it was a 3-hour wait that night.
Oh, wow.
And most people stayed, which was crazy because I couldn't imagine standing out in that heat. I mean, it was brutal. And, I mean, no telling how many left. But we did, like, I think it was like 254 shakes that night, which was that's a phenomenal night for us. And,
sure.
It was just wild. Like, my buddy Austin, he works with me. We joke we wouldn't have it any other way. Mr. Milkshake, that's how we do it.
That's it. That's how you roll. That's how you roll it, Mr. Milkshake. I love it. And those experiences though, when they happen, of course you don't want them to happen, but when they do, it's like it couldn't get any worse than that. I mean,
look, the helpless feeling I had over me, I'm like, what are we gonna do?
Yes.
Everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, we keep going. You face adversity, and
that's it.
And it builds you. It prepares you for the future. So just like this brick and mortar, I'm not going to lie, it's been a challenge. And, I think God tests you in ways to what you can handle.
Yeah.
Because why would he let me get anything bigger if I can't handle my moment now, right?
That's right.
So if I can handle my moment now and everything that's thrown my way, I have bigger things that I could accomplish.
Indeed. Yeah, he was just saying, hey, Colin, what you going to do with this? If I cut your generator off, how are you going to handle that? He knew you could handle it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then he sent somebody there to fix it for you. Just
hey, he had somebody on standby.
That's it. That's it. Just in case.
That's it.
Got your back. Blaksheep Creative understands the importance of digital marketing and your return on your investment. It's their aim to provide professional web and graphic design services at a price point that smaller businesses and startups can afford. Get in touch with them on the web at blaksheepcreative.com. So, wow, that's a good story. And I did want to mention earlier we were talking about the spring festival, and when I met with you the first time, you brought up an interesting point that I had never thought of, and I've told like 10 people this since, because I'm like, man, I never considered that. You were actually so busy at that festival and having to open your freezer so many times that you were struggling to keep the ice cream cold, right? It was a struggle.
It was a struggle. Part of the problem was I had 2 jobs that day. I double booked. And I did it on purpose. My wife came off a knee surgery that Thursday, and she ran a crew in Hammond. And so she took the trailer because I was already booked there. And I'm like, I bought a tent. I bought a big tent. And I'm like, I wanted to come to Denham knowing that we were going to be opening here.
Yeah.
The brick and mortar, I wanted to introduce people that didn't know me.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, I think this would be a good marketing moment for us. Say, hey, we're coming. And
it was. I will say it was.
And not only that, but I had to change things up a little bit too. We did waffle cones for the for the festival. I think the logistics weren't quite right for me to do the shakes, blenders. Blenders require a lot of mess as well. You spin ice cream, so more wash tubs and stuff. It just wasn't going to fit. And then I was like, we're going to do waffle cones, and we're going to jack these things up just like our shakes. So we're not going to do anything small. We're going to go big, right? Go big, go home.
That's right.
So yeah, we did waffle cones, decorate them just like our shakes. And, I try to think of everything ahead. I try to plan. I'm a planner. I want to make sure that I have everything covered.
Right.
I just didn't think that the heat was going to be – I knew it was going to be a factor, but I didn't know it was going to be as much.
Yeah.
So by the end, the last hour, that stuff really started turning soupy. And I was like, we're going to have to shut this one down. This is not what I want. I don't want to portray this product.
Yeah. And that is exactly why I brought that up, because – rather than put something that is not up to your standards out there, absolutely, you shut it down. You probably could have sold another 100 ice creams just shut it down.
That was, it was wild. I had people still coming up after we were breaking down. I'm just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it's amazing, that for me to think about, because I never considered the more you open those freezers, it doesn't have, it's common sense. It doesn't have the,
it just don't
time
have
to freeze
that heat goes in, and the problem was we couldn't close it because we got so we're so busy that legitimately it was just scooping, and
it was amazing. The speed was fine. People weren't having to wait that long. It was amazing how y'all were keeping up. I mean, I was there and partook.
Again, it was a learning experience for me. I'm used to shakes. You shake, you scoop. Then you got to blend, and it's got to go to decorating station. This was a little easier, so it allows speed as well. So it worked out. That fashion worked well because it was just scoop, put it in a waffle cone. I could throw the toppings on. I decorated every single one of them that day. Yeah. Nobody else decorated. I was the only decorator. Since we were shorthanded, I had a whole bunch of new employees, so we just hired some really good ones, and they were with me. So I had all the new employees with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So. Awesome work there. And I do want to mention, we already did mention, but it really hammered down the point that both businesses, he's still going to have his food truck business. So reach out to him if you have parties, special events, anything, weddings, and they'll definitely get you taken care of there. So now let's talk a little bit about the brick and mortar. When are you planning to open would be the first question.
Oh man. It's one of them things where it's hard to lock down a definite date,
Yeah.
There's so many variables involved.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But we're hoping that second weekend in June, the 12th, I think it is. If that doesn't fall in, then we're hoping the 18th. And that presents a problem because most of my staff is going to be out of town that week. Mm-hmm. I'm sending them to Houma, Morgan City for an overnight trip.
Yeah.
I booked months and months ago to go out there. So that's going to present me with some problems. So we'll figure it out. But if not, we'll try to go that weekend.
Yeah. And speaking of staff, are you staffed up and ready to go, or are you still hiring, looking to hire?
Always looking to hire.
What age do you have to be?
Oh, man. Workers permit, I'll take 15, and then on up, I'll take anybody, really.
I got one right now ready for you. Look, my daughter Braylon last night was like, "Are you talking to Mr. Milkshake tomorrow?" I said, "Indeed I am." She said, "I want to work there." No, she's 15. I tried to tell her you had to be, but she's great. She's awesome. Yes, so I'll send her by. I'll make her work for free if we got to.
Hey, anything to get you a milkshake. Right? But yeah, we have some really good ones. We've hired some really good ones, and I'm grateful for it. They do a really good job. Really, even though some of them are young, they're actually a little bit beyond their years. They've really been doing well. But yes, if you could contact my Facebook page. Yeah. We'd love to get you in for an interview. Yeah. My interview process is a little different. We do 3 interviews. But absolutely, man, we would really love to get y'all in there and come enjoy what we're about to do, because I don't want this to be like a job where you walk in and like, oh man, I need to go to work. Yeah. I want this to be like, man, I cannot wait to go to work. This is awesome. It's fun. I want it to be enjoyable for my employees. I think if I could do that, I could keep a lot of my good employees around. I want it to be light and fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and let me tell you something, young people out there that are hopefully listening. Learn from a guy like this. This is like a mentor right here. When I was 16, 17, I worked with a gentleman that was a military guy, and had by the time he was done with me, I think he shaped me in a lot of ways. And I had so much respect for that guy. And the last thing I wanted to do was let him down. And he wasn't even hard on me. It was just, I had so much respect for him. And I learned so much about leadership from that guy at a young age. So I recommend send your kids to Mr. Milkshake. he'll definitely give them some good life lessons. Now, you were nice enough last night. I asked you for a menu, and of course it was selfish in some ways because I wanted to see what's coming up on this thing. And I'm going to just talk about a couple of these because I've seen a few of them on Facebook, like Magical Unicorn is one of them that really sticks out. It's colorful. It looks, delicious. And cake batter ice cream, y'all, with cotton candy sprinkle rim, topped with rock candy, cotton candy, unicorn cookie dough, and whipped cream. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. But he's got a ton of these splits of banana for you banana split lovers. It's got strawberry ice cream, banana, chocolate rim, dipped in pecans, y'all. Pecans. So salted caramel cheesecake, which is probably going to be my favorite. But there's a ton of them. White chocolate blueberry cheesecake, chocolate chip cookie delicious. And it sounds delicious. And you can create your own. That's the interesting thing about what you're going to be doing is you're not limited to just this menu, although it'd be hard to pull your eyes off of it. You can create your own. You start with like a base, and you've got sauces, spotlights, toppers, plain Janes, cute names for these, and the classics, cookie dough, cookies and cream, chocolate chip, you name it. So, I can't tell y'all how exciting this is going to be. When this guy gets rocking and rolling, and believe me, he wants it as fast as we do. Oh. He's ready. He was ready yesterday. So,
absolutely.
I do want to mention that. Also, I did want to mention that I saw on your Facebook you were promoting kind of like a pre-grand opening or something. And if you have I think it was a T-shirt or something, and you take a picture. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So I have some really diehard fans that follow us, right? And I love all the people that come out, but I really have some really great people that follow me and consistently come. And I'm telling you, they'll travel an hour and a half, 2 hours to come see me, which, hey, I'm very grateful. Thank you. But they buy T-shirts, so they wear their T-shirts.
Yeah.
You buy a T-shirt from me, you get $1 off your order.
Yeah.
And every time you come back, if you're wearing your shirt, you get $1 off the next order.
Awesome.
So just a little, hey, get your shirt paid for.
Yeah.
Free marketing and advertising for me if you wear it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to reward all of the people that come to me and come consistently and drive and make that, for a milkshake.
Yeah.
Stand out in that heat.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yes.
For me. So I'm like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and anybody that I know that is a VIP of mine that comes consistently, I put them on a list. If you have a shirt, you're on a list.
Yeah.
Just last night at one of my events, I said, if anybody, my 50th customer, get a shirt and an entrance to my VIP opening. So I might do that a little more often just to kind of.
I think it's a great idea, and I need a media pass.
We might have that one covered later.
Yeah, there you go. So I wanted to quote, I was intrigued by what you said when I asked you what defines a leader. So you said leads by example, willing to get their hands dirty and try things beyond their comfort level. I really can't add anything to that. And really the third thing you said, try things beyond their comfort level, is key. when you don't step out of your comfort zone, you don't really learn. There's
no growth.
Yeah, there's no growth there.
No growth.
And just like when that generator breaks, I mean, that was a growth moment for you. That was a learning moment for you. And you got two choices. You can embrace that or you can run from it, right?
Absolutely.
You embrace.
Yes. You know, life is tough, and life's going to throw things, and it's easy to quit. You know, a lot of that separates a lot of successful people. Successful people won't quit. They're just going to find a way to make it happen.
Yes.
And that might be through failure. You learn a lot. Failure is a big life lesson.
Absolutely.
And what can you take from that? So now I carry 2 generators.
Yeah. That's right. That's what you took from that.
That's it. But so you have to adapt, and you have to be willing to learn.
I agree.
So being a leader is not just being a boss. That's just a person. If I work hand in hand with my employees and I show them how to do it, and anybody, it's you got to be willing to do the dirty work, or who's going to follow you?
Yeah, right.
So like last night, perfect example is like, hey, I'm going to show you how to wash these dishes.
Yeah.
So I got there, and this is how I want it done. I washed them dishes, and she watched me. And it's like, this is how my expectations, and you do it. If your hands are dirty, people will follow you.
I agree.
So it's important. Get out of your comfort zone. Don't just stay there.
Right.
If you stay in your comfort zone, you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out there and grow. And if it didn't work, hey, if you got out your comfort zone, it didn't work, you know what? Let's try something different. Let's grow it even bigger.
Yeah,
absolutely.
In just a quick example of that, my wife wasn't the biggest fan of speaking in front of people. Just shy when it comes to that. And the way that she overcame that in her life was at church. She became the reader. That was her way of stepping out and saying, I don't like the fact that I'm uncomfortable when I do this. And so I'm going to put myself in an uncomfortable position. And it helped so much, it made all the difference in the world. But she intentionally put herself there. And sometimes you have to do that to grow. And so kudos to my wife on that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Me and Colin are like, good job. So I do want to say that one of my favorite parts of this show is fun facts. So I'm gonna quote a little from you. But before I do, when I started promoting the fact you were coming on the show, I had a few folks reach out regarding the passion of you giving back. You give back a lot, and you're not public with it necessarily, but I want to tell you that there are people out there. I can't even remember. It was 4 or 5 different people sent me messages, and they were like, one thing we love about Colin is he gives a lot back. And that is also the sign of a leader. I didn't learn that till late in life, but I say late in life, I'm not that old, but later on in my maturity did I learn that being a leader is giving of yourself and not expecting a lot in return or anything in return. And so I just wanted to shout that out and say that, you have a big reputation for that. So
look, that means a lot because, I do want to give back. Mm-hmm. It's important to me. Mm-hmm. I truly believe if you do good, good will come back. Yeah. And I think that's a big reason of my success. Not that it's always been easy. Because, anytime you go through success, there's hardships. But I do believe, I want to help out as much as possible. So if I see that there's things or people I could give back to, I want to do that. And I do that not just with my business. I did it with my AAU basketball team. For holidays, we gave 4 or 5 families their whole Christmas. We raised the money. We took it out of our funds, and mm-hmm. I truly believe God sees that stuff because we were even more successful. We found a way to get more money to come in and help with that stuff. So there's blessings that come back to you when you do that stuff. So definitely very big. I do it because I want to. I do it because, I generally care about people. Yeah. A lot of people, they just, go about my life.
Yeah.
They don't matter. But, it's something, especially like cancer is very big to me because I'm scared to death of it.
Sure.
I lost my grandfather to cancer. And so when I see these things, I try to jump on it and get involved and help raise money and give it back to the families and stuff like that and whatever we can do to help.
That's awesome, man. And I also believe that gratitude reciprocates. And we do those things because we want to. But gratitude and giving of yourself definitely goes full circle. And so shout out to you on that. Fun facts. If you purchased a yacht, you would name it. Folks, you're never going to believe this. Mr. Milkshake.
Right.
I could have picked that one out. Now, dream job when you were 12, professional athlete, I'm assuming basketball.
I just love to play sports.
Yeah.
But basketball would have been my number one. But, I wasn't quite that talented to get that far.
Right. I hear you. It's tough.
I'm better at making milkshakes, I guess.
Well, it's worked out for you, Kyle. If you could have any superpower, you said, and this speaks, look, when I read this, I texted one of my best friends and I said, you know what? This tells me a lot about this guy. You said the power of healing.
Absolutely.
Man, that impresses me. That says a lot about who you are. And also, I would pick invisibility, so I'm like, I am definitely falling short of Colin on this one.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? Disney World.
Absolutely. It's the most magical place on earth.
It is. It is. And my wife and son are there right now on his senior trip, and I'm living vicariously through her pictures. But we go there. Yeah, me too. And it's totally changed. I mean, we went like 4 years ago, and she said it's totally changed.
Yeah, it always changes.
Yeah. So yeah, they're having a great time. Now, everyone, let's show our support for Colin and Mr. Milkshake. I want to thank you for coming on today, man.
Oh, thank you.
This was an awesome episode. For all these people that will watch this and want more information, let's shout out your website and Facebook. And I also want to shout out the location of your brick and mortar. Where is it going to be? We know it's in Denham Springs, but where exactly in Denham?
Alrighty. My website is under construction, so that should be coming soon.
Okay.
Facebook, you can catch me at Mr. Milkshake.
There you go.
Go ahead, hit follow, like, and you can see where we're going to be right now, moving around in the trailer. Also, it has going to have our future location home in there, which is 240 Range 12 Boulevard, Suite 107.
Yeah.
It's the old beef jerky outlet.
Right next to Cafe Phoenicia.
That's it. I think I'm sandwiched between El Rancho and the Babe Shop.
Yeah.
Directly behind Hooters by Bass Shop.
There you go. So convenient, obviously, for everybody in Denham Springs. And I'm going to be linking everything that he just discussed with his Facebook, and when his website gets up, I'll link that also. But you can just click on those links and check it out. I do want to thank everyone out there for viewing and listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our social media on all your platforms as we strive to shine a spotlight on all local businesses. We're honored, Colin, to have surpassed 7,100 subscribers on YouTube alone. So that was a big milestone for us. So, it has nothing to do with us. It really has everything to do with folks like you on our show and the interests that people have in your stories. I do want to mention LOPA, speaking of giving back, the Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. Local Leaders, the podcast, has partnered with Real Life Real Crime, a podcast by Woody Overton, as well as Captain Duval of Duval's Cajun Charters to offer a fishing trip for two with Woody Overton. This inshore trip will come complete with a booked room in Delacroix, Louisiana, a fishing charter the next morning with Duval's Cajun Charters, and you'll be fishing with Woody Overton himself, as well as 225-quart Yeti ice chest, courtesy of Local Leaders, the podcast, and another donated at our friends at HomeKey Mortgage in Denham Springs. Folks, this package is valued at several $1,000s, and what we're doing is raffling off tickets. We're going to draw the winner live at Crew Bash 2 in June, and you don't have to be present to win. All the proceeds go to LOPA, and I'm linking the link where you can purchase raffle tickets online, or you can pick them up at Beauty Born Nutrition in Denham Springs, right here in Denham Springs, on Florida. They're only $15 each, or a book of 10 for $100. So check that out. I do want to thank my sponsors: Tricia, Johnston Realtor, BJ Pawn, Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill, SportNCenter, Blaksheep Creative, SR Enterprise Painting, and William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance. I couldn't do any of this without them, I can tell you that. Lastly, we want to wish everyone a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. You'll probably hear this after Memorial Day, but we are on the cusp of Memorial Day weekend. And please take a few moments in between all those barbecues to remember those who sacrifice everything so that we can continue to enjoy freedom every day.
Amen.
And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman reminding you, love your community, support local business, check out Mr. Milkshake when he opens, and keep leading. Thank you.
Thank you.
SportNCenter in Denham Springs is your one-stop shop for team sports equipment, school uniforms, and promotional goods. Conveniently located next to the Antique Village since 1977. SportNCenter. Your business means everything to them because your name rides on everything they do.